Hello, this is Game Ideas, and you're watching this on Game Ideas YouTube channel right now. Yes, I was formerly known as Speed Domino, but hey, that was when I was like 8 years old. And today, we are going to talk about my whole story of game development and how I've gone good at it. And possibly talking about a special project. In 2021, I started my game development career. In my 7th grade computer science class, I made my first ever game. It was bad, but it was the start of my really long game development process. And little did I know, this will be the start of my rest of my life of game development. I literally found this one game engine called GDevelop. And honestly, it was love at first sight. This was my first ever game engine, and it is still my favorite to this day. I wouldn't use it because it's too easy for me now, but at the time, this was my favorite engine of all time. Now, my first game was a Hawaii game, which I completely deleted it because it was so bad. And honestly, at the time, I thought that it was the best game of all time. But now that I think about it, that was a very mediocre game. But hey, it was the start of a long process. For some reason, after getting used to GDevelop, I used a game engine called Unity, which I completely scrapped afterwards because it was too hard and I was going to go insane because it was too difficult for my brain to handle. But after that, I went on a month long break of game development because I was going to Hawaii at the time. But then when I got back, I used another game engine which is called Construct 3. My dad and mom paid for my subscription, and honestly, I still use it today. But honestly, it's not my favorite game engine. But hey, at the time, I loved it, and that's all what matters now. This was the time when I started using more and more game engines instead of using one. Every single game engine I've tried was really fun, especially this one game engine called BuildBox. BuildBox was a very easy and free at the time two-dimensional game engine. But then, ever since I got a subscription, I've been straying away from that engine ever since. But there was just one game engine that really caught my eye, which was Game Maker Studio 2. Yes, it costed money, but now it's one of my favorite game engines because it's free now and it's really easy to get started with the game. And that's what I did for a while until another game engine appeared on my watch list. And that game engine was called FlowLab. Yes, this game engine was paid, but honestly, after all the stuff that I tried in that engine, it's one of my favorites. But now I've started to stray away from the engine because it was just not my favorite anymore. But then, after all of the game engine testing that I've tried, there was one game engine that I really liked and I'm going to use. GDevelop. GDevelop was my favorite game engine of all the ones I've tried, but all the other ones were good too. Not only GDevelop, but there was one game engine that was probably my favorite game engine after this. We're in the new year now, and it's 2023 at the time, and I was using GDevelop to make my first ever Game Jam submission. It was the GDevelop Game Jam, and it was the first ever Game Jam that I've ever tried. And holy moly, that was one of the most funnest games I have made, and honestly, one of the most favorite games I have made of all time. If I were to remake that game, I would, but don't want to. After every game jam that I have joined, GDevelop was a really, really fun game engine, and I honestly liked it at the time. But then there was this one game engine that really made me think that, hey, maybe GDevelop isn't really good for making those type of games. Then after that, I took a 5 month long break of making GDevelop games, and then I started working on another game engine. And this game engine was the start of basically a new era for me in my game development. And this game engine was the Godot game engine. This was the start of a brand new era of game development for me. Yes, I'll use Udevelop from time to time, but this was the main engine that I was going to use. Before, I used to make games in like 2 days, but now games take me like almost like a whole week to make, which is an improvement, but I honestly like making games faster. And then I've been using this game engine, but I've been losing hope. I've been inventing game ideas, but I never really pioneered them and started making an actual game with them. I don't know why. I don't know. But then there was this one day, one fateful day, that I started to make my best game in the game that I'm currently working on right now. And that was Slice and Dice. It is still in development right now, and honestly, it's my favorite game that I've made to date. Yes, those other developed games were fun, but honestly, this was the best one. This one took the cake. But then I suffered a problem, and that problem was saving and loading progress. For time and time now, I've been trying to use saving and loading to make my games, but it never works, and that's the reason why I've been not making games as much because I want to save my loading my progress, but I can't because I don't know how to at the time. But then there was just one day, one fateful day when I started to make my game, and something clicked. I finally figured out how to make saving and loading in this game. And honestly, this was really, really a big achievement for me because this is when I started to make saving and loading for a lot of my games now. From now on, saving and loading is probably the best thing I've made. And honestly, Slice and Dice is overall one of the best games I've made. Yes, we have some challenges, like some bugs at the end, but honestly, some bugs were honestly not that bad. And the game is coming out on April 5th, so if you want to see that game, then go check it out on April 5th. It's on iOS and Android. Besides of that, this was probably the turning point for me in the Godot game engine. Because this was when I was starting to make progress on my game development in Godot, and this is where I'm at today. From all of the stuff that I made over the years, from that really crappy Code.org game, now to a full on commercial game. And this was my whole plan in general. I wanted to make games that are really, really fun to all people, even kids. And that's what Slice and Dice is. It's a more better game than all my other games. And see you when my actual video comes out and when Slice and Dice comes out on April 5th. Alright, guys, I'll see you guys later. See you next time. Bye. So, how do you like the video? I liked it because I made the video. This video was the hardest I've made in a long time. And honestly, I'm so proud of it. This is the hardest I've made in a while. And honestly, I'm proud of it. How do you guys like Slice and Dice? I did. I sure love it. It was actually really fun to make because I made the game. But honestly, it comes out on April 5th, so get ready for that. Anyway, this is. I'm getting tired now. I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Bye.